Executive producer of RGG Studios and writer of the Yakuza series, Masayoshi Yokoyama, said during the RGG 2022 summit that Like a Dragon Ishin is meant to be the all-star Yakuza game, and the 20 minutes of hands-on time I had with the game definitely delivered on that promise. But Like a Dragon Ishin doesn't just feel like simple Yakuza fan service. From what I've played, Ishin features enough of a new story and presents a fresh environment to a Western audience at least, that it is poised to welcome new players to the massive franchise without completely alienating them. The preview demo played at the Tokyo Game Show courtesy of Sega featured two modes. Day mode, which was a more explorative and story-centric introduction to the game's central area, Kyo, and night mode, a more action-focused look at the game's many fighting styles. Starting with day mode, I spent my first 10 minutes with the game watching a lengthy cutscene introducing the many characters of Like a Dragon Ishin. It was certainly a slow start to the hands-on demo, but by Yakuza standards, it felt very apt. While most of the series' entries are action brawlers by definition, the heart and soul of any Yakuza game is in its story and characters. The cinematic provided a glimpse at its stoic protagonist, Sakamoto Ryoma, and the many captains of the Shinsengumi Special Police Force, including the snarly Takeda Kenryusai, played by Japanese superstar Riki Takeuchi, the rather snaky Todo Hesuke, which is the character model Tianyu Zhao from Yakuza Like a Dragon, with Nobuhiko Yokomato returning as the voice actor, and many more. After the boisterous introductions of the Shinsengumi police force, I was set loose to explore the dirt roads of a fictional late feudal version of Kyoto called Kiyo. The streets were heavily populated, shop owners calling your attention, other people walked and chatted with one another, and workers bustled in all directions with somewhere to be. RGG's talents at creating a location that feels as alive as it does tangible was on full display. This is no surprise considering how well they've managed to do the same for its modern day counterparts, but translating it to the late 19th century while making it feel distinct from other Yakuza games is impressive. There were many shops I wanted to explore, side streets to walk down, and buildings to get distracted with, but due to my short hands-on time, I had to resist, and instead hurled myself into patrolling the streets and getting into fights with many outlaws roaming around every corner. For returning Yakuza fans, combat will feel familiar, giving the player 4 fighting styles from the outset, with each one utilizing your 2 primary weapons, a katana and pistol. On the fly, you can shift fighting styles, which includes dual wielding the blade and firearm, allowing you to cut enemies in rapid succession and follow up with a shower of bullets. Or you can just use your gun for more distance attacks, just the katana for more controlled and powerful hits, or neither, allowing Ryoma to go full brawler mode with his fists. A distinct difference to the combat from other titles was the absence of using items in the environment, like a parking cone or, fan favorite, a bicycle. Instead, the focus was on the weapons you always have on hand, which offered plenty of variety to fit your playstyle or the scenario you were in. For example, one of my encounters involved 2 bandits with swords, while another had a rifle. Using the katana was too precise and methodical, which relied on slower dodges and stronger hits. The gun-katana combo, however, allowed Ryoma to perform a faster dodge, spinning out of the action and giving me the opportunity to shoot the rifle bandit from afar, while rapidly slicing and dicing other foes around me. Each style has a special ability that charges up over time, which you can leash with a fantastical display of theatrics, one of which can only be compared to a Kamehameha-like beam of energy that damages multiple enemies at once. Each fighting style's special move also has a callout to a series character, one of them being Ichiban Kasuga from Yakuza Like a Dragon. It truly is an all-star Yakuza game. Despite the garish display of swinging swords and firing off a pistol, combat felt rather wooden and clunky at first, and the uncooperative and stiff camera movement certainly didn't make it any easier. I often found myself swinging in the wrong direction entirely, or pulling out my pistol to fire at nothing due in part to the lack of a targeting button. Most woeful of all is when I unleashed one of the special moves. It targeted an innocent table with no enemies in its line of fire. As I crossed more enemy encounters, I was able to adapt a little better, which made things more fluid but not as kinetic as I'd like. Sadly, I didn't get as much time exploring night mode, which was an even more action-oriented segment of the demo. However, what I saw left me eager to spend more time in it. Where daytime Kyo showed the hustle and bustle of the city, night showed off a side of Kyo drenched in warm candlelight and the red glow from lanterns. Although it was the same area I explored for both times of day, both felt in a way unrecognizable from one another due to the distinct mood change. Equally, I also find it to be the biggest differentiation from the modern day Yakuza games. Kamurocho at night is crowded and populated with people to evoke Tokyo's busy nightlife. But in Like a Dragon Ishin, RGG instead presents a more moody and dramatic setting where things are quieter and a little bit more still. That is, of course, until you run into bandits and a ballet of sword swinging and pistol shooting ensues. I'm disappointed I didn't get more time to explore Kyo's night, but the few minutes I had with it left a strong impression. For the most part, my brief hands-on time with the game showed the tried and true, albeit stiff, combat system seen in other Yakuza games. It works well enough, and there's still depth to special moves and how the fighting styles level up that I didn't get to explore. I also saw a window into Ishin's story and characters, the franchise's strongest characteristic. But the thing I'm most eager to see, which I didn't get a good look at with the demo, is how well that signature melodramatic storytelling, as well as the off-the-wall humor, will translate to the feudal setting of the late 19th century, especially for a Western audience. Feudal era games are far from uncommon in the medium today, Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro, Nioh, just to name a few. But seldom are they as narratively dense and character-focused as RGG's games, some of which include hours of cutscenes. Considering the fantastic localization record RGG and Sega has had, specifically with Yakuza Like a Dragon and Judgment, I'm still hesitant to see if that success will be the same alongside the modern-day counterparts. I'm also interested to see how Yokoyama-san and team will tell a story from the perspective of a person of the law. Yakuza, in the West at least, have featured two protagonists that are unflinchingly virtuous despite being involved with criminal backgrounds. This is in contrast to Like a Dragon Ishin's protagonist, who is, from the outset, a member of a force meant to uphold the law. I'm far from believing that everyone who is a part of the Shinsengumi is as morally balanced. It is an RGG Studio game after all, which can only mean there's going to be melodrama, betrayal, and comedic shenanigans in store. But we'll have to wait to find out more in February 2023, when the game is expected to release on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.
我々の働きに幕府も信頼を寄せている。各隊、さらなる働きを期待する。以上だ。